What's up guys, Casual Avenger back again, and yesterday we got another awesome developer interview on the Excelsior Now podcast with Doomkiller HD and Bloody Reckless, and Brian gave a lot of insightful takes on the game and how things work on the development side, and how the team has been in talks about different things coming to the game like Echo Heroes and new events and bosses, as well as the question of what a post-Kree invasion Marvel's Avengers game looked like. So of course I'll give you guys the breakdown on all of it, so let's jump into it. So for anyone new, Brian Wagner is one of the lead system designers working on Marvel's Avengers, and during yesterday's interview, he was asked several questions about the game and its future, and he not only answered, but he gave in-depth responses for most of them. He confirmed that the team has had conversations about possibly adding more Echo Heroes in the future, but of course the design choice is to try to keep their hero kit interesting and not a simple reskin. He also spoke of how much time and resources go into making each hero feel different and unique, so the idea of Echoes is and has been on the table, and the hope would be to find a balance between an easier workload and having a hero be something that players would want and that would be well received. So while this doesn't officially confirm that there is indeed a new Echo hero coming this year, it does support the idea that it's possible. Brian also is responsible for the shipment system being a part of the cosmetic rework that we got back in November's update, and while there is room for improvements, it has mostly been a welcome design choice, with the only real complaints being units aren't as accessible as most of us would like, which they are addressing with the update coming later this month. He also gave more info about how Nick Fury will function when he comes with the update, where he'll mostly be used as a way to streamline the onboarding process for new players coming to the game and jumping straight into the Avengers Initiative content. Now low-level players will be steered towards different regions with different objectives to complete instead of aimlessly hopping around the map. So hopefully this is something that helps make the experience for new players more engaging and rewarding and motivates them to stick around a bit longer. Now the most interesting things he had to say in regards to the game's future was that the hero and villain that he would most like to see come to the game would be Captain Marvel, and he wants to see where the story of Roy becoming Ultron goes. Now I 100% believe this was a subtle tip of the hat about what they have planned, and because he's a part of the system design team and not the narrative team, he wouldn't know the specifics of the narrative of Captain Marvel's introduction in the game or how Roy evolves into Ultron until they're a bit further along in the development process. But knowing that he does follow the community on social media, he very much knows the things players are speculating about. So when I heard this, I definitely got excited during this part of the interview, because I do believe that the arrival of Captain Marvel during the Kree invasion and the rise of Ultron will be the best things to come to Avengers that we'll have seen so far. But he didn't stop there. He went on to share that there has been talks about what the possible future of Marvel's Avengers post-Kree invasion and post-AIM would look like, and how would they want to begin setting up for things in the game's current narrative. This is something players have been hoping to see since the end of the game's campaign, because with AIM being the only major villain faction operating in this world, it just makes things very underwhelming and limited, and I think they chose to focus on one faction so heavily because it's similar to how things go in the MCU films, where for the most part the Avengers deal with one big threat at a time mostly, whereas in the comics and TV shows and other Marvel games, there's always multiple villain factions operating, with some even teaming up to pose even greater threats, thus requiring the Avengers to expand beyond just their own team, which is great because players want to have access to as many heroes as possible. At this point, I think most players would greatly welcome anything that would introduce heroes like Doctor Strange and Scarlet Witch, and more of the Avengers team like Ant-Man, Wasp, War Machine, and Falcon, but I think they should steer away from focusing on any new villain or faction for too long, since this is a live service game, so a couple of months of shine is really all they need, and you don't have to fully eliminate them, but shift the focus towards newer, more pressing threats, because that's more in line with how the Avengers actually function. They deal with various threats daily from multiple villains, so for this kind of game, I think the more threats that just exist in the game's universe, the better. Plus, let's not forget the God of Mischief is running around behind the scenes, so I could definitely see him stepping in to take advantage of the chaos that would be caused by a Kree invasion. But as I said, this was a great interview, and I'll have the link to it down in the description, so definitely check it out. And of course, I want to know what you guys thought of the things Brian shared in this interview. What do you think a post-Kree invasion Avengers game could look like, and what heroes and villains would you like to see set up to arrive next year? Make sure to drop a like if you enjoyed the video, and subscribe to catch more Marvel's Avengers content every week. Thanks as always for watching, and I'll catch you in the next one.